Its energy surrounds us and binds us.
What is up, Marvel fans, and welcome back to Carbonite Convos. Tonight, we are previewing Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We're going to give you pretty much everything we know about the movie, both from Alec and I alone and a couple of well-known sources. So we have a lot to dive into tonight, so I don't think we want to waste any of your time. Who knows? You might be watching this right before the movie, and you're just trying to get a little background knowledge right before the film. So, Alec, I'm ready to go if you are.
Yeah, dude, let's roll right into this thing. It's only just tomorrow it drops today if
Yes,
you're actually
sir.
watching this. So I can't wait. Let's get going, man.
All right, so we're gonna start off with a couple different
Yeah.
however whatever the double form of that is. So Alec,
Yeah,
why don't you
man.
go
I
ahead?
uh I gotta pull this up here because this is a little bit of a mouthful here, but basically the overall premise of this movie, the synopsis, if you will. Ant-Man and the Wasp find themselves exploring the quantum realm, interacting with strange new creatures, and embarking on an adventure that pushes them beyond the limits of what they thought was possible. And going even further from there, Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne, along with Hope's parents, Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, and Lang's daughter, Cassie, go on a new adventure exploring the quantum realm that pushes their limits and pits them against Kang the Conqueror.
All right. So we pretty much know the gist of the movie. We know Kang is trapped in the quantum realm. We know that Scott, Cassie, the Wasp, maybe Hank and Janet, I don't know, but they
Right.
get pulled into the quantum realm and they're stuck down there as well. So for this, obviously, we have Paul Rudd returning as Scott Lang / Ant-Man. We have Evangeline Lilly returning as Hope Van Dyne and the Wasp. We have Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer returning as Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, otherwise known as the original Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Right.
And making her MCU debut, we have Catherine Newton. She's playing Cassie Lang, and this is our third Cassie so far in the MCU. Obviously, we had Abby Ryder Fortson, who played the Cassie that we were introduced to. She was in Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp. And then we were introduced to Emma Furman, who made her debut in Avengers Endgame.
Like you said, it's the third actress who's played this character. So I think it's kind of funny when multiple people play the same person throughout different stages of the MCU. So maybe we'll get some crossover event down the lines where one of the other actresses return.
Another returning character, we have Corey Stoll. He's returning as, we were introduced to him in Ant-Man as Yellow Jacket, and at the end of the movie, we saw him disintegrate into nothingness. But it seems as if instead of unaliving like we thought, he has actually been transported so small that he is now in the quantum realm, and he is making his MCU resurrection as MODOK. Now, MODOK is a super interesting character. I'm surprised that Darren Cross is MODOK, because in
Right.
other renditions of Marvel Comics, it has been Zemo, it has been Arnim Zola, and we even got a little hint at Arnim Zola becoming MODOK in Captain America: The First Avenger. We saw his head very close up in a microscope, so that made fans think that maybe after his computer form, he would actually become MODOK like he does in a certain comic line. I think it's really interesting that Corey Stoll, who played Darren Cross in Yellow Jacket, is returning as MODOK, and I think some fans have been expecting it, so I think it's going to be super interesting.
Overall, we have one of the biggest, baddest villains that's going to be introduced. We've seen it in the trailer. We met him in Loki, technically. We have all the different variations of Kang, who I'm sure we will find in some way, shape, or form how this version of Kang found himself in this predicament.
After Thanos being the big bad of phases 1, 2, and 3, it was finally revealed in the Loki series. But it is revealed that Kang the Conqueror is going to be the big bad of the MCU. And judging by just the trailers alone, he looks very powerful and he looks very angry and very ready to conquer. So what a lot of fans believe, based on the trailer and some theories, is that he needs Pym particles to power up his time chair. Now, the time chair, we've already seen it in the trailers, and it is very interesting because the time chair can bring him to any location at any point in history. It is imperative that he does not get Pym particles, because if he does, he's pretty much a god. Clearly, he's trapped in the quantum realm. By who, we're not 100% sure. He Who Remains has told us that you do not want to meet his variants. They are ready to conquer, and they want to take over the entire multiverse.
Just for clarification, this is not the same version of Kang from Loki. This is an all-new version, a bigger, badder version, as He Who Remains says.
Let's get into some early reviews. Last week, I had heard nothing but positive things. I had heard that it was a fantastic movie. It really built upon phase 4 and took a new spin into phase 5 and kind of got back to pretty much the pre-phase 4 era of the MCU. However, now for the first time today, I am seeing some negative reviews. I know one that stuck out to me was on Animated Times on Instagram. They said Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man 3 continues MCU's hit and miss game plan post-Endgame as it ushers the much-awaited Phase 5 with a CGI-infested, poorly developed storyline despite its massive star cast. For a movie with the talents of Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Jonathan Majors, Quantumania utterly fails to deliver its much-promised high stakes of the quantum realm and the inevitability of the multiverse with juvenile jokes only made bearable by its supremely talented cast. And they rated it a 5 out of 10. So I don't like that. I think that might be coming down a little hard because they go on to also quote Rotten Tomatoes. They said, didn't see this coming, weren't expecting this review, which I didn't understand because they just shat on Ant-Man, so why are they expecting a good review when they didn't like it? But going into Rotten Tomatoes, this is so far the second lowest rated Marvel movie. It has a score of 54%, which, that worries me a little bit, but after seeing how these other shows and series have been rated, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to go into it with just as much an open mind as I would have a week ago.
I think something we need to keep in mind is that this is definitely going to be a setup movie. We're still not at the peak level of what the new age of the MCU is. This really does have the potential to break the multiverse open, like they keep mentioning in this trailer.
Yeah.
So
there are enough worthy elements to this third outing, particularly Jonathan Majors' performance as the villain Kang the Conqueror and its Star Wars-like world building, but fans may be disappointed by the script. So what I am taking from this is that it does a good job building the multiverse, just how Star Wars does a great job at building the galaxy. It's not just one singular story, it's a web of stories all connecting in the galaxy. In this instance, it's the multiverse. So when I first read it, I thought that was I took that as a negative or as a knock on Star Wars, but after reading the review, it looks like it was a compliment. Then it says, but fans may be disappointed by the script. I don't know. I always thought that Ant-Man was naturally very funny, and I would assume that this
Paul Rudd is a kid.
Exactly.
The big kid, so.
Exactly. So I think this one's going to follow in those steps. And again, you can't, you have to take these with a grain of salt and go in with your open mind. You know what I mean? All right. So we got the reviews out of the way. The only negative part of this video. We're almost done. We're going to go into a few theories before we call it quits. The first and arguably the most biggest theory is how the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania relates to Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings. So to give you some backstory, in the post-credit of Shang-Chi, we see Wong take him to the Sanctum Sanctorum where they're receiving a message. He then asks Wong where this message is coming from. And a lot of people, based on the look of the energy of not only the message itself, the energy surrounding the message, but the looks of the rings compared to the looks of the rings in Kang's fortress in the quantum realm, they're really thinking that the two are very heavily involved. So they're thinking that maybe this isn't just where this message is coming from, but when is this message coming from? The classic time traveler joke. Due to us not having, we don't have a full explanation of the 10 rings, how they came to be. It's one of those somehow Palpatine returned kind of deals. Somehow they just came to be. So it makes sense that maybe Kang is possibly trying to send a signal from the quantum realm, and somehow they're receiving Wong and Shang-Chi, and even Bruce Banner in that scene is receiving this message from the quantum realm, because I find it hard to believe that a few Avengers can't figure it out, especially the likes of Bruce Banner and Wong.
100%, especially combined with Hank and Janet and their knowledge of the quantum realm, and
Yep.
Scott, who's spent so much time there. That's super interesting. We know it's possible. We saw Thanos track his way through the quantum realm to get back to the future 2025.
2023.
Sorry,
We're in
2023. We're
Endgame
in
year.
it. Wow, that's
We're in
crazy.
it. Endgame year.
And we saw Janet send messages through the quantum realm into Scott's head in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yep.
And so we know it's possible. We know there's things we don't understand about the quantum realm, so it's definitely not out of the question.
No, exactly. So I think we will get some answers, and it could be the first real, very important link of Shang-Chi to the MCU. Moving on, the last fan theory we have, when we were doing some research, it looks like some people think that Cassie might be working with Kang, not in a evil way, but maybe out of a lack of knowledge way. So in the trailer, we see that Cassie reveals this device that can transmit messages, will transmit a signal or message down to the quantum realm. This is when Janet very quickly tells her to turn it off, seemingly because she knows exactly who's down there, and maybe she knows the stakes of if he gets out, talking about Kang. But the interesting part about the theory is that Cassie says that she, quote, I built it with him. We don't have any context about who she's talking about. This could be anybody from Hank to Bruce Banner to anybody in the MCU, well, that got snapped or didn't get snapped away. But it could be a possibility that somehow she was communicating with Kang, and I would assume it's one of those scenarios where Cassie doesn't know he's evil, kind of the way that Kang portrays himself to Ant-Man originally in the first trailer. It says he just needs his help, so he's coming to him innocently. He just needs his help. I've been stuck down here. I need to get out. So maybe that's how Cassie is working with Kang. He's playing innocent. She buys it.
I could definitely see her getting manipulated into doing something like that. Kang is evil.
A good word.
Evil as hell. So there's no doubt in my mind he'd be willing to do something like that. And so I like that one.
Never know. Yeah, definitely. So that's all that we have, other than, our personal theories. Do you have anything or any big expectations? What are your thoughts?
So something I don't want to say like I'm feeling or predicting. So if you're familiar with what's going on with like this Flash movie, how he's breaking the universe and like changing the past, and like how they're changing all the actors and stuff like that. I could see something similar happening in this, to the point where they break the quantum realm open because they do something stupid, right? It opens up all these portals into different realities,
Just
and we
chaos.
start to see the different universe. We're going to start to get these other cinematic universes tied in even more. I could see that being tied in some way, shape, or form.
Definitely. I think my biggest theory is Scott's time away, the time that he missed with Cassie, the 5 years he was gone. I think that is going to be his driving force in this movie. And the thing that he has to debate whether to work with Kang or not. It's clear that he's not going to end up working with him, but I think he's going to have a real internal conflict, because you can't get time back. That's something that we very much know. Time is the most valuable and precious thing in the world. But Scott, because of Kang, has that opportunity to get that time back. So he has a lot to deal with. Based on the trailers, it's not going to end well. I don't know for either of them. I don't expect us to not have Ant-Man anymore after this movie.
Right.
But I am expecting, I expect it to be a really good movie. Despite these reviews that are coming out, I think this is going to be a great movie. And I think personally, it's going to be the best movie since Endgame, other than No Way Home. No Way Home was incredible for so
Within
many
its own
reasons.
tier.
Yeah, just due to the multiverse breaking open with Toby and Andrew. So I think this is going to be the best movie since Endgame outside of No Way Home, and I am super excited. So I'll leave it there. Mic drop.
Mic drop. We out.
Yep. But that's all I have, unless you have anything else, Alec.
I'm good, man.
Perfect. Well, guys, we really appreciate you tuning in. We really hope that you gave this a watch before or after seeing the movie. I don't know. Maybe we're all completely wrong. But I hope you guys are just as hype as Alec and I for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We are recording this on Wednesday, February 15th. Obviously, it dropped. For some reason, the release date is the 17th, but it comes out on the 16th. We don't know why, but we're
Every
not
time.
complaining. Always happens. So I am seeing it the 16th. Alec is seeing it the 17th. And you can tune in next week for our Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania review. We're super excited to watch it once, possibly twice before we give our official review, and we can't wait to see you in that video. But until the next time you're on the channel, like always, may the Force be with you.
Remember, the Force will be with you. Always.